Hello everyone, and welcome to my channel, Anne's Aesthetics, where hopefully you can find a little bit of peace, happiness, and a vibe through painting tutorials today. Be sure to check out my other ghost painting tutorials. I have 2 of them. That was the first one. Here's the second one. But let's get started with this tutorial. I'm taking cool blue, a purple color, I believe it's petunia purple, and king's gold to create the background atmosphere of the sky night for our campfire cowboys. Here's our inspiration for today's tutorial. Thank you so much to the original creator, because without them we would not have this inspiration to create this, so thank you very much. If you would like to check out their work, you can find it on my Pinterest under my art and drawings board, and you will see that I have their pin saved under Halloween, specifically the section. I'm using that light purple and the cool blue, dark blue color to mix them slightly together to create different shades of depth. And then I'm going on top, and I'm not really blending in this king's gold. I'm just letting it sit because we are going to do more layers on top of it. Now I'm going to be taking Purple Patsy and Admiral Blue to darken things up a little bit. I'm only trying to focus on darkening up the upper portion of the canvas. And then I'm going to be taking Sunkissed Peach for some clouds. For our mountains, I'm using Flamingo Red and Petunia Purple to mix together a combination that creates this like earthy reddish purple night tone. I don't know. I just really like the color. I use the purple as the highlighting shade basically, and the red is more of the shading shade. Once again, I'm taking purple pansy to darken up the areas within my painting canvas. For these mountains, I just kind of started with a baseline with the red, then used the purple and the red mixed together to create the mountain, and then I used the purple to highlight, and then I went back in with the red to kind of darken up the baseline again. And right here is where I'm using khaki as just a base sand color to create, the desert sandy color. And then I'm taking yellow flame to do the initial base for our fire pit. This is the shade Parakeet, and we are going to be using this to mix and create some of our cacti. Believe it or not, this is an old donut container. I use it to mix paints. This is the shade Laguna, and I'm also going to be using this to help create Ann Arbor Green to create all of these different cacti. I'm going to blend these colors, use them at different times to create different dimensions and shades, so you'll just be able to watch the process. So far we have one little cactus, and then I am working on a very large cactus right here. Just trying to paint it, outline it, and then fill it back in. Cool trick is using your fingers to help blend in paintings. I do this quite a bit. Yeah, it might be messy, but I feel like acrylic paint, a light layer, will dry so quickly, almost instantly, so you really don't have to worry. As long as you end up washing your hands, it will come right off. These are the arms of this cactus. So I'm trying to do one a little bit higher than the other one, and this one ended up being a little on the chunky side. So when I go outline later on, you'll notice that I use the outlining to my advantage to slim her down. And then I drew my second little cacti, and then my second big cacti as well. And you can see I'm utilizing my shade Parakeet, which is my light lime green shade, to do some highlighting. And I'm finally working on my last cacti that is going to be on the farthest right. I decided to do their base first and then go in to do each of their arms, just so I could figure out how much space I had to work with. Going to be working on some grass now, believe it or not. So I'm taking the shade Bright Yellow first, and then I'm going to be mixing in some Yellow Flame along with some Outrageous Orange, and then a Melted Chocolate Brown shade, And I'm taking a very, very slim paintbrush and I'm flicking in an upwards motion to create the effect of little grass, pretty much dead grass though, if we're being real. Using two different motions, both patting and flicking upwards. Just keep going. It's going to take a little bit of patience, but you'll get through it, I promise. Gotta paint some randos over here and a little bit over here. In my mind, I'm using the orange as kind of the base color, the brown as the darkening color, and the yellow as the highlighting shades. So just maybe that will help you as you are questioning which color or shade of grass you should lay down. I had some extra outrageous orange, so I decided to use it on the campfire base, and then I used the melted chocolate brown to work on the large stones that are the structure of the fire. These are stones, so they do not need to be perfect circles. I did kind of a patty motion and a little bit of swirls just to make them look a little more round and like stones, but just focus on creating like a bracelet shape. While that was drying, I wanted to work on these cacti, so I am outlining each one of them, and then I am drawing the center lines that define the different sections of each cacti, and then I'm also working on outlining the arms and putting spikes around all the dimensions. And then I'm alternating and putting some dots in between those lines that I created earlier, moving on to the smaller little fella. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, maybe even share with a friend. Tell them who Anne's Aesthetics is, how cool the art can be, what a vibe it is. Just join the crew, okay? You know you want to. But here we're taking elephant gray and we're putting it in that little donut container, pastry container, whatever it was. I decided that the pebbles slash stones needed some more depth, so that's why we're using the elephant gray to highlight some of those stones, and then I needed the gray for the actual stones that were going around the cacti. But this is where we get to my favorite part. We're taking a pure white color and we are, I wonder, I just realized that I threw out a white earlier, and I think it was this one that was full of paint instead of the empty one that needed to be thrown out, so I need to do that later. But anyways, we are doing the ghosties right here. Wow, that was sidetrack sensation. I just focused on doing round tops and then really wavy bottoms. Just think it's flowy, it's a curtain, it's kind of like a dress. This needed to look more like a sunset turning to nighttime, so we're adding a little bit of stars at the top, and then we're going to work on the fire finally. Again, I'm going to be starting with the base as orange, and then I will later on go in with red as my shading, yellow is kind of my first highlight, and then white as a final highlight. I did this first kind of shape for my fire, but then I decided I didn't like it, so I ended up actually bringing out the flames and making them all curve in like a closed flower, if that makes sense. Did decide to use acrylic markers for this, but as always you can use acrylic paints. You would just start with an orange and then you would go over it with a red, wait for it all to dry. I am obviously right here doing the red section. While I'm waiting for that layer to dry, I wanted to work on the ghosties, getting them done. So I'm working on their eyeballs, and then I wanted to spice it up and make it my own little painting by giving them faces. So this guy has a curled handlebar mustache, and the other one's kind of got a goatee going with a just like a straight mustache. This first brown shade is going to be used to outline the hat, the shading sides of it, the darkest part, you could also say. Just filling in those outlines we created. You're going to end up doing this for both ghosts, so keep that in mind. Using a much lighter brown shade, I am going to draw the top of the hat, and for the shape of this, I kept in mind like a camel's back, and then I just filled in what was left. And like I said, we are going to do this to both of our ghosts, so now I'm going to be doing it to the little fella on this side. I purchased some new detailing markers that are supposed to be super fine, and I was not impressed, but I wanted to give them a try. So that's what you see me struggling with right here. And for the other ghosty, I ended up just switching to my basic tried and true go-to, what I use in pretty much every video. But what I am attempting to do here is outline the ghost, create some ripples for the sheet effect. It's much, much easier to see on this ghost. Some other things I included was a shadow underneath each ghost, which was just melted chocolate brown. And then I also worked on the fireplace by adding some yellow and going back over that yellow with a little bit more of orange. Another minor but important detail in my opinion was adding grass in front of the rocks in the background and adding the orange lines underneath the rocks in the front of the fireplace. And then I'm adding some white to the ghost, and I added some white to the fireplace just to clean up things. I was struggling with this marker. It was terrible, but I was attempting to sign my signature. You know how the drill is, but I really, really hope you enjoyed today's tutorial. For me, it was a fun one. It's honestly one of my favorite ones so far this season. I hope you'll consider joining the aesthetics group. I hope you have a wonderful, happy rest of your day. You like, share, subscribe. Bye-bye, everyone.